Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive with us.
Always fun to dig into a new topic.
Well, today we're taking a look at something I think a lot of people are curious about,
Yeah, for sure.
the world of healthcare,
Right.
specifically the relationship between nursing and medicine,
Okay, yeah.
because, we all want to understand how those roles differ and how they work together.
Right.
And I think it's particularly relevant for anyone who is interested in, holistic care.
Absolutely.
That whole person approach to health and well-being.
Yeah.
So we found this really interesting article
Mm.
called Nursing versus Medicine. How are they different?
Okay.
It's from the Amos University website.
Right.
And what I thought was so fascinating about this article
Yeah.
is that it doesn't just lay out the distinctions between these two professions.
Right.
It actually highlights how important their partnership is
Makes sense.
for achieving truly holistic patient care.
So it's not just about, one versus the other.
Right, exactly.
It's about how they complement each other. Absolutely.
To provide the best possible care.
Yeah. What jumps out at you when you think about nursing and medicine? Like, what are those initial differences that come to mind?
Well, I think it's easy to get caught up in those kind of surface level differences, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we tend to think of doctors as the ones who are, diagnosing and treating illnesses,
Okay.
prescribing medications, performing procedures,
Yeah.
maybe even doing surgery.
Okay. The more technical side of things.
Yeah. I mean, but then there's this whole other aspect of healthcare that's equally important.
Right.
And that's where nursing really comes into play.
Right. And the article really emphasizes that.
Yeah.
It talks about how nurses are trained to provide holistic care.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering, what does that look like in practice?
It's about so much more than just checking your vital signs or administering medication.
Right. I imagine it goes way beyond that.
Absolutely. It's about addressing your physical needs, of course,
Yeah.
but also the emotional and psychological impact that
Yeah.
illness can have.
Think about it. If you're going through a difficult medical situation, wouldn't you want someone to acknowledge how it's affecting you as a whole person,
Oh, absolutely.
not just a collection of symptoms?
Yeah, I mean, I can see how that would make a huge difference in your overall well-being.
It really does.
The article has this great line. It says, doctors may prescribe the treatment, but the way the treatment is delivered is also vital in making the experience a satisfying one.
That's such a good point.
It really highlights how crucial the human touch is in healthcare.
I think that's really key.
So true.
And I think patient satisfaction should be a shared goal for both doctors and nurses.
Absolutely.
But I think nurses are in a really unique position to attend to those emotional needs
Right.
that are so critical to healing and recovery.
Because they're the ones who are often spending the most time with the patient.
That's right.
Yeah, there's that continuity of care.
Absolutely.
I love how the article puts it. It uses this really powerful phrase, hands that turn caring into actions, touch that turns compassion into comfort.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is. It's really striking.
It really speaks to that deeper level of connection that nurses cultivate with their patients.
Yeah. What do you think it means for nurses to turn compassion into comfort?
It's about taking that extra step
Mhm.
to really ease a patient's suffering,
Yeah, it's not just about being sympathetic. It's about taking concrete actions.
Absolutely.
It seems to go beyond just, offering words of encouragement or, just being present.
It's about taking the time to really listen,
Yeah.
to understand a patient's fears and anxieties,
Right.
and then to respond in a way that brings genuine comfort.
Mhm.
Maybe it's a gentle touch,
Yeah.
a reassuring word,
Mhm.
or simply just being present and attentive.
Right.
Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can have the most profound impact.
They really can. And I'm sensing that this whole person approached this idea of turning compassion into comfort.
Yeah,
It's woven into the very fabric of nursing, wouldn't you say?
absolutely.
It's not just a recent development.
No.
It seems deeply rooted in the profession's history and philosophy.
It's interesting you say that because the article touches on that as well.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it mentions that nursing from its earliest days has been about caring for the person, not just the disease.
So it's not just about fixing what's broken physically.
Right.
It's about supporting the person who's going through the experience of illness.
Exactly.
And that makes me think about, the historical figures who've shaped nursing.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Virginia Henderson, of course.
Oh, absolutely. She's a legend.
Right. She was a pioneer in defining what nursing truly means.
And her definition really emphasizes the patient's active role in their own health.
So it's not about doing things to a patient,
Right.
but about empowering them to participate in their care and make informed decisions.
Exactly. It's a much more collaborative approach
Right.
where the patient isn't just a passive recipient,
Yeah.
but an active partner in their own healing journey.
I'm guessing that this philosophy has shaped how nursing has evolved over time.
Oh, absolutely. As the article explains, nursing has become much more health-oriented.
Okay.
It's not just about treating illness, but also about preventing it in the first place.
So it's a much more proactive approach.
Absolutely.
And it makes you realize that providing this kind of comprehensive care requires a significant investment of time and presence from a nurse.
Oh, for sure.
They're not just popping in and out. They're truly engaged with the patient's experience.
Right, and the article actually highlights that aspect.
Oh, does it?
It describes nurses as having an ever-presence in a patient's care.
Ever-presence.
Yeah, think about your own experiences with healthcare. How often do you actually see a doctor compared to a nurse?
That's an interesting point. Doctor visits tend to be more episodic, right?
Right.
You go for an appointment,
Yeah.
get a checkup, maybe have a procedure,
Mm-hmm.
but then you might not see them again for a while.
Exactly. But nurses are there consistently providing round-the-clock care,
Right.
monitoring your progress, addressing your needs, and just making sure you feel supported throughout your entire healthcare journey.
And I imagine that continuous presence is invaluable
It really is.
because it allows them to develop such a deep understanding of the patient's needs and preferences.
Absolutely.
And that's not something you can get from just a brief 15-minute appointment.
Not at all.
I'd imagine that this consistent presence also plays a crucial role in another key aspect of nursing that we've touched on briefly,
Mm,
and that's advocacy.
yeah. Advocacy is huge.
Now, this is an aspect of nursing that I think often gets overlooked.
Right, because people don't always understand what it means in this context.
Yeah, it's not the kind of advocacy we think of with lawyers or, political activists.
No, it's different.
So how does the article define advocacy in nursing?
Well, it defines it as a core ethical element of nursing practice.
Okay.
It's about building that meaningful and respectful relationship with the patient
Right.
and then using that relationship to advocate for their best interests.
So it's about going beyond simply following orders.
Yeah.
It's about really standing up for the patient's needs and wishes. I'm curious, what are some situations where a nurse might need to advocate for a patient in a way that maybe differs from a doctor's initial instructions?
Well, imagine a situation where a doctor prescribes a particular medication,
Okay.
but the nurse, based on their close observations and interactions with the patient, notices some adverse side effects
Okay.
or concerns that weren't initially apparent.
So they would bring those concerns to the doctor's attention
Exactly.
and advocate for a different approach.
Absolutely. They would act as a liaison,
Okay.
working collaboratively with the doctor to find a solution that truly benefits the patient and addresses their specific needs.
So it's really about ensuring that the patient is an active participant in their own healthcare decisions
That's the goal.
and that their voice is heard,
Absolutely.
even if it means questioning or challenging established protocols.
That's right. Sometimes you have to speak up.
Yeah, it takes courage.
It does.
This really highlights how crucial communication is in healthcare.
For sure.
And it makes me think about how we as patients can also play a role in advocating for ourselves.
You're absolutely right. The more informed and engaged you are in your own healthcare, the better equipped you'll be to advocate for your own needs.
So it's a two-way street.
Absolutely.
Nurses advocate for us, and we in turn can advocate for ourselves.
By asking questions, voicing concerns, and being active partners in our healthcare journey, it's a collaborative effort that leads to the best possible outcomes.
And this collaborative spirit extends beyond just the patient-nurse relationship, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's also crucial in the interactions between doctors and nurses.
It's all about teamwork.
Yeah. I'm curious to learn more about that dynamic.
Well, the article makes this really interesting point about how doctors and nurses, while having these distinct roles, are ultimately working towards the same goal.
And that goal is,
Your well-being.
right, the patient's well-being.
Exactly.
So it's not about one profession being superior to the other.
No, not at all.
It's about recognizing that they each bring unique skills and perspectives to the table.
And when those skills and perspectives are combined effectively,
Yeah.
you create a truly holistic approach to healthcare,
Okay.
one that addresses both the physical and the emotional aspects of your experience.
It's like they're two sides of the same coin,
A perfect analogy.
each essential for a complete picture of health and healing.
Oh, God.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And it underscores why it's so important to choose healthcare providers who value this collaborative approach.
Absolutely. You want a team that's on the same page.
So you're saying it's about looking beyond just a doctor's reputation
Right.
and considering the nursing staff and the overall philosophy of care.
At a particular hospital or clinic, yeah.
Right, because it's about finding a healthcare team that embraces this idea of doctors and nurses working together seamlessly,
Yes.
sharing information and coordinating care.
In a way that puts your needs at the center.
Exactly.
You want to feel like you're part of the team.
Yeah, and not just, a number or a case.
Right. I'm starting to see how this all ties together.
It's a complex system, but when it works well, it's really beautiful.
It is. It's not just about individual roles. It's about creating a healthcare system
Yeah.
that supports collaboration and communication.
And a true partnership between patients and providers, everyone working together.
This conversation has really made me reflect on the incredible dedication and compassion that nurses bring to their profession.
It's truly inspiring.
It is. They're often the unsung heroes of the healthcare system,
They really are.
working tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure our comfort, safety, and well-being.
And they do it all with so much heart.
They do. And their contributions go far beyond just the technical aspects of care, right?
Absolutely.
They're the ones who are providing that emotional support, offering a listening ear.
And advocating for our needs.
When we're at our most vulnerable,
It's a calling.
it's safe to say that this deep dive has given us a whole new appreciation for the vital role that nurses play in our healthcare system.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like I've learned so much already.
Me too.
Yeah,
And I'm excited to keep digging deeper into this topic.
me too. There's still so much to explore.
Stay tuned for the next part of our deep dive where we'll be discussing,
The challenges and rewards of the nursing profession.
right, and we'll also be looking at the evolving role of technology in healthcare.
And, of course, we'll be discussing the future of patient-centered care.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after a short break.
It's interesting that you bring up that idea of, feeling empowered as a patient,
Yeah.
because it leads me to think about something else the article highlights.
Okay.
This whole idea of patient satisfaction.
Oh, that's a big one, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
everyone wants to feel like they're getting good care and that their concerns are being heard.
Exactly. And while I think both doctors and nurses share that goal
Right.
of ensuring patient satisfaction,
Hmm.
I think the article suggests that nurses are often the ones who are really in the trenches, so to speak. Building those relationships and making sure you feel truly cared for.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because they're the ones who are spending,
The most time.
the most time with you,
Right.
explaining things, answering questions, and just generally making you feel comfortable.
They're your advocate.
Yeah.
Someone who understands your unique needs
Hmm.
and will fight for you to get the best possible care.
And that makes me think about, how we approach choosing healthcare providers.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not just about finding the doctor with the best reputation
Right.
or the most impressive credentials.
It's about the whole team.
It's about also considering the nursing staff,
Yeah.
the hospital's overall philosophy of care.
Right. Do they embrace this idea of collaboration
Yeah. Do they prioritize patient satisfaction?
and emotional well-being?
Those are such important questions to consider.
They are.
Because I think we often get so caught up in the cure aspect of healthcare that we forget about the equally important care aspect.
That human touch.
Yeah. And as this deep dive is showing, both are absolutely essential for true healing.
Couldn't agree more.
I have to say, I feel like I've gained a much deeper appreciation
Yeah.
for the distinct roles and the essential partnership between nursing and medicine.
It's eye-opening, isn't it?
It really is.
It's like you're seeing the whole picture for the first time.
It's definitely something I'll be keeping in mind as I navigate my own healthcare journey moving forward.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
This brings to mind another interesting thought.
Okay.
We've been discussing how nurses advocate for their patients
Right.
within the healthcare system.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the role of patients advocating for nurses?
Whoa.
I haven't thought about it that way before.
What do you mean?
Well, nurses face a lot of challenges in their professions, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine.
Short staffing, long hours, burnout,
Right.
to name a few.
And those issues can directly impact the quality of care that they're able to provide. So you're saying that as patients, we have a responsibility
Yeah.
to consider how we can advocate for better working conditions for nurses.
Absolutely.
So you mean like supporting policies
Mm-hmm.
that improve nurse-to-patient ratios,
Yeah.
promote work-life balance?
And address those issues like burnout that you mentioned.
Because ultimately, by supporting initiatives that benefit nurses,
Yeah.
we're indirectly improving our own healthcare experience.
Precisely. It all comes back to recognizing that interconnectedness of the healthcare system.
It's a system.
It is.
It's not just about doctors and nurses.
Right.
It's about all of us.
Patients, providers, policymakers,
Yeah.
all working together.
To create a healthcare system that truly serves everyone's needs.
That's the goal.
Wow, this deep dive has been so eye-opening.
It has been fascinating.
It's like I've gained a whole new perspective on the healthcare landscape.
Me too.
And I have to say, I'm leaving with a renewed sense of appreciation for the incredible work that nurses do every day.
I'm so glad to hear that. It's been a pleasure exploring this topic with you.
And to our listener, we hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought.
Yeah, maybe it sparked an interest in learning more about nursing philosophies.
Right, or the role of patient advocacy.
Or maybe you're simply more aware of the incredible team of professionals working behind the scenes
Yeah.
to ensure your health and well-being.
Whatever your takeaway, we encourage you to continue exploring, continue asking questions, and continue being an active participant in your healthcare journey.
Your health is your wealth.
It really is.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground already,
We have.
from the distinct roles of doctors and nurses to the historical and philosophical foundations of nursing.
It's been a journey.
I'm curious to dive into some of the challenges and rewards that nurses face in their everyday work.
Okay.
I mean, it's a demanding profession, to say the least.
It is.
What are some of the things that really stand out to you?
Well, one of the biggest challenges that comes up time and again is the issue of understaffing.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
You know, when there simply aren't enough nurses to adequately care for the number of patients, it puts a tremendous strain on everyone.
Yeah, it makes sense. I imagine it leads to longer hours, increased stress, and a higher risk of burnout.
Exactly. And when nurses are overworked and exhausted, it can really impact the quality of care that they're able to provide,
Right.
which ultimately affects you and every other patient.
So it's kind of a vicious cycle.
It is,
Understaffing leads to burnout, which potentially compromises care.
unfortunately, yeah.
What are some other challenges that nurses commonly encounter?
Well, think about the emotional toll of the job.
Yeah.
You know, nurses are constantly dealing with people who are sick, injured, often in a lot of pain,
Yeah.
both physically and emotionally, and that takes a toll.
It's true. You have to have a tremendous amount of empathy and resilience
You do.
to navigate those situations day in and day out.
And it's not just about the patients either, right? Right.
They're also interacting with families
Of course.
who are often under a lot of stress and anxiety themselves.
Right. So it's this constant juggling act
It is.
of providing medical care, emotional support,
And navigating those complex family dynamics.
all while working under pressure and often with limited resources.
That's a lot.
It sounds incredibly demanding.
It is a tough job.
But despite these challenges, people continue to choose nursing as a career.
They do.
There must be some pretty significant rewards
Oh, absolutely.
that keep them going.
What are some of the things that you think nurses find most fulfilling about their work?
Well, I imagine it's that sense of purpose, right?
Yeah.
Knowing that you're playing a direct role in someone's recovery or well-being.
It's about making a difference in people's lives,
Yeah.
helping people heal, offering comfort during difficult times, and being a source of support and strength.
That must be incredibly powerful.
It is.
And then there are those moments of, you know, genuine human connection.
Oh, absolutely. When you build a rapport with a patient and their family, you see them through a challenging situation.
And they express their gratitude.
Those moments must be incredibly rewarding.
They are.
To know that you've truly made a difference in someone's life, even in a small way.
Those are the moments that make it all worthwhile.
And then there's the intellectual stimulation of the job.
Oh, yeah.
Nursing is constantly evolving.
With new technologies, treatments, and approaches emerging all the time.
So it's a field that requires continuous learning and professional development.
You're never really done learning as a nurse.
Yeah, you're always on the cutting edge.
Exactly. And that can be really exciting.
Keeps you engaged, challenged, and constantly growing in your knowledge and skills.
It's a dynamic profession.
It sounds like there's a lot to admire about the nursing profession, despite the inherent challenges.
Absolutely. It's a truly noble profession.
And you know, speaking of challenges, one thing that's really interesting to me is how the role of technology is evolving in healthcare
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
and how that's impacting the work that nurses do.
Right, because we live in an increasingly digital world.
We do.
And healthcare is certainly not immune to those changes.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So what are some of the ways that technology is shaping the nursing profession?
Well, think about electronic health records, for instance. They've really revolutionized how patient information is stored and shared.
Right, so no more shuffling through paper charts,
Exactly.
trying to decipher handwritten notes.
It streamlines communication
Yeah,
and helps ensure that everyone is on the same page.
exactly. And then there are all the new medical devices and technologies that nurses are using
Oh, yeah.
to monitor patients, administer treatments, and provide care.
Like telemedicine, for example.
Oh, yeah, that's becoming increasingly
Well,
common.
especially in rural areas or for patients who have difficulty accessing in-person care.
Right, and nurses are often the ones who are facilitating those virtual visits,
Absolutely.
providing guidance, answering questions, and just ensuring that the technology is being used effectively.
They're on the front lines of that technological shift.
So it sounds like technology is both enhancing and expanding the role of nurses in healthcare.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, and as technology continues to evolve,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be fascinating to see how it further shapes the nursing profession.
Yeah. And the future of patient care in general.
This has been such an insightful conversation.
It has.
We've covered so much ground, from the unique roles of doctors and nurses to the historical roots of nursing and the evolving landscape of healthcare.
It's been a whirlwind tour.
It has.
But I think it's important information for anyone who wants to really understand the complexities of the healthcare system
Oh, absolutely.
and advocate for their own well-being.
And the well-being of those they care about.
Exactly.
Well said. And until next time, keep diving deep.
It's really fascinating to think about how all of these things that we've talked about, the roles, the challenges, the history,
Yeah.
all come together to shape what nursing is today.
It's like a tapestry.
It's a complex and multifaceted profession.
And one that's constantly evolving.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah.
There's always something new to learn, new challenges to face, new ways to make a difference.
Speaking of challenges,
Yeah.
one thing that's been on my mind is this whole idea of how technology is changing healthcare
Oh, yeah. It's a game changer.
and how that's impacting the work that nurses do.
Right, because technology is touching every aspect of our lives these days.
It really is.
And healthcare is no exception.
So what are some of the ways that technology is shaping the nursing profession?
Well, for starters, think about electronic health records.
Okay.
They've really revolutionized how patient information is stored and shared.
So no more shuffling through paper charts,
Exactly. It's all digital now.
trying to decipher handwritten notes.
It's much more efficient,
Yeah.
and it helps ensure that everyone is on the same page.
Yeah. I can see how that would be a huge improvement.
It really is.
And what about all the new medical devices and technologies
Oh, yeah, there are so many.
that nurses are using to monitor patients and administer treatments?
Things like smart pumps that deliver precise doses of medication.
Okay.
Wearable sensors that track vital signs in real time.
Wow, it's like the future is here.
It kind of is.
And then there's telemedicine, which
Right.
we talked about earlier,
It's becoming increasingly common.
especially in rural areas, or for patients who have difficulty accessing in-person care.
Absolutely.
And nurses are often the ones who are facilitating those virtual visits,
Yeah, they're providing guidance
answering questions.
and just ensuring that the technology is being used effectively.
So it seems like technology is both enhancing and expanding the role of nurses in healthcare.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's giving them new tools and new opportunities to make a difference.
And as technology continues to evolve,
Mhm.
it's going to be fascinating to see how it further shapes the nursing profession.
Yeah, and the future of patient care in general.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive.
It has.
We've learned so much about the distinct roles of doctors and nurses, the importance of their collaborative partnership,
The historical and philosophical foundations of nursing.
the challenges and rewards of the profession, and the evolving role of technology in healthcare.
It's been a really comprehensive look at the world of nursing.
It really has.
And I hope it's given our listeners a deeper appreciation for the incredible work that nurses do every day.
I think it has.
They truly are the heart of healthcare.
And I think it's important to remember that healthcare is not just about science and technology, it's about human connection,
Right.
empathy.
And the unwavering commitment of individuals who dedicate their lives to caring for others.
Well said. And to our listener, we hope this deep dive has inspired you to reflect on your own experiences with nurses and maybe even consider how you can advocate for their well-being and the betterment of our healthcare system as a whole.
Because when nurses thrive, we all thrive.
That's a great point. And with that, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It really does. But before we go, I want to thank you
Of course.
for joining us today and sharing your expertise.
My pleasure.
It's been an absolute delight.
Likewise.
And to our listener, we hope you've enjoyed this journey with us.
We do.
We encourage you to keep exploring these topics
Keep asking questions.
and keep diving deep into the world around you.
Until next time, stay curious.
And stay well.